Hi friends, it's Miss Alicia. I just wanted to pop in before Katie gets on and shows you the really cool greenhouse activity we have for this month. And I'm just gonna real quickly show you what else is in this kit, and then I'm gonna get out of here so that you can learn from Katie. Okay, so your kit this month comes in this awesome bag that is reusable. And this month it's a survival kit. So you have this sheet of paper that has kind of all the information on it. You have this sheet of paper that is the directions for the greenhouse. Sorry, these are all wrinkly. I've been carrying it around all week. And then inside the kit, you have all of these things you can use to survive the summer. So we first have your greenhouse kit, and Miss Katie's gonna talk more about that in a minute. So you've got the greenhouse and 4 different kinds of seeds. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so there's your greenhouse and your seeds. You're gonna learn more about that in a minute. And then we've got a reusable water bottle because we have to stay hydrated, right? We've got some snacks. So you should have some sort of chips, some candy, a granola bar, a flavor packet for your water, because, you know, sometimes we get hangry and it's necessary to have snacks on hand, especially during the summer. So we gave you some snacks. And then the last part of the kit is the part of the kit that is good for yourself and good for the people around you. And it is just like a small hygiene kit. So you can, it's their travel sizes. So if you go anywhere this summer, you can use them. If you're an older teen and you have a car, I like to keep like an extra deodorant and sometimes even a toothbrush stashed in my car for those emergencies where I'm like on my way to work and realize I forgot to put deodorant on, and you know, everyone around me also is grateful that I had an extra deodorant in my car that I could use. So there's deodorant in here, and then there is a toothbrush, and there is toothpaste from Dr. John Morris's dentist office. They provided the toothpaste and toothbrush for us, so thank you very much for that. And that is your survival kit for the summer. I'm gonna jump off so that Miss Katy from Leila Arboretum can get on and show you how to do your greenhouse. But before I go, this is the end of the school year, but we're still doing stuff all summer. So we're still gonna have kits every month during the summer, plus we're doing summer reading. So make sure you check our Facebook page, check our Instagram, check our website for information on that in the coming weeks. And I will see you soon. Bye.
Hello, this is Katy from Leila Arboretum, and I am coming to you today from the greenhouse as part of our 365 Urban Farm program. We grow in here a variety of vegetables and herbs that you might see on our property and in our farm stand, which will be open this summer, Tuesdays and Thursdays from 9 to 5, right on Michigan Avenue. Today we are here because we are going to be looking a little bit into plants and how they grow and the survival techniques they have to get there. Okay, so you should have already picked up your survival pack from Willard Library. So if we open that up and we go inside, you're going to notice some tools that are going to help you with our project today. First and foremost, you'll have a little container with a lid. This is going to act as a little greenhouse in a little bit. We're going to plant some seeds today. So you'll take that lid off. Inside there, you will notice a little information about what to do after your seeds are planted. You'll want to keep that close by. There are some stickers that we'll put on the outside of this container so we know what we're growing. So we've got our labels. And then we have a few compressed pucks that are, they're actually full of fibers and coconut husk, and they've been dehydrated and compressed, and this is great substrate. It's nice and lofty so the seed can grow in there, the roots can develop really well, but it's really, really dry and really tough right now. So what we need to do is we actually need to soak these for a few minutes. So if you would grab, you can grab even a cereal bowl would work, a small container, and we're going to fill it with water. So I happen to have my Imagine Your Story water bottle. I'm just going to open that up and fill my container here with a little bit of water. And that's going to add moisture into the soil. It's going to make those pucks grow and expand. That should be good. It's going to make them grow and expand. So all we're going to do is take those 4 little discs, and we're just going to stick them right in that water and kind of float them, let them soak up some of the water. Now I've kind of got a head start on y'all, so I did already soak a few of them, and I want to show you the difference between a dry one and a wet little soil puck here. So this one is still very hard. This one I can squeeze with my fingers. It is, I don't know, maybe 1.5 inches tall, maybe 2 inches even tall. And so it'll swell as it fills with the water and get be perfect for planting in. Because today we're going to be, as our survival discussion, we're going to talk a little bit about plants, okay? So plants are part of our survival means as people because they do a number of things for us. First and foremost, they do provide us with oxygen that we need to breathe, okay? So plants do that by photosynthesis. If you remember back to biology class or one of the times you visited me out in the gardens, we might have talked about photosynthesis and what that means and why that's good for plants, why that's good for us, okay? To give you a quick rebrief, photosynthesis is the process where plants are taking the air that we breathe out, that carbon dioxide. Okay, they're taking that carbon dioxide, they've taken the light from the sun, the energy from the sun, and they're taking the water that they absorb up through their roots, and they will use some chemical reactions to create a few different products. The most important to them is that they are creating sugar, okay? Plants are really trying hard to photosynthesize. In any green plant that you see, there are cells in there that are working to photosynthesize, whether it is a pine needle or a blade of grass or a speck of algae in a pond, okay, or in a fish tank. It is photosynthesizing in order to make the food for that plant, okay? Now plants, their food comes in the form of sugar. It's called glucose. And they're actually building that glucose. They're making that sugar in their leaves, okay? And anywhere that you see that is green on that plant, there are cells that are photosynthesizing and making that sugar. That sugar is what gives them the energy that they need in order to grow. Now, as a result of this chemical reaction, there are some other products that are made as well. The one we often think about is oxygen because that's such a necessity for us. We need to use that so that we can breathe that in, which we, of course, exchange for carbon dioxide and breathe that out. So they make oxygen, we'll breathe that in. They also will make they'll also create water, okay? So plants will have water as part of their photosynthesis reaction as well. So there's oxygen, there's sugar, and there's water. And if you ever wanted to see that, and the sun came out just on cue for me here, you can take a Ziploc bag and put it over a selection of leaves, kind of seal it as close to the stem as you can, and we'll see what happens in here. I don't know if we'll get any right now, but if you did this on a hot summer day, you might actually notice it'll look like condensation, but it's actually the water that's being transpired, that's being put back out into our atmosphere, collecting in their bags. in these bags. That is a survival mechanism that you could, if you were in a survival scenario and you were in desperate need of water, you could collect the droplets that are put out by plants in a plastic bag such as this, and able to harvest some of that water to drink, to sip on. So plants are doing all that photosynthesis in their leaves. Okay, now in order to even get to that point though, plants have to have energy in their seeds. Okay, so in your bag today, we do have some containers. I have 4 different containers of seeds because we're going to plant 4 different seeds today. And then you should also have a straw. We're going to be using this little scooping straw here in just a few minutes. But the seeds that we have today are fennel. If you take one of these leaves, these seeds, you can kind of smell them and you can even crush them. Fennel gives off it's an herb that's used for seasoning, but it gives off a black licorice smell. So it reminds me a little bit of the black jelly beans. So if you crush that, you might be able to get a smell. A fennel seed is one you can actually eat, so you can even try and taste that by crushing it in your teeth. And you should be getting a little bit of black licorice flavor to that. The leaves, when they start to grow, will have a lot of that black licorice smell to them as well. Similar in appearance, but a little bit different plant, a very different flavor profile, is our dill. Now, dill has, again, a similar leaf or seed. If we take that seed and, again, crush it between our fingers, you should be able to smell a pickle smell. It's definitely, you can definitely catch that dill scent from that we use to flavor dill pickles from that seed. When that plant grows up, I have some little ones here. This is a young dill. They get quite large and bushy. I have a young dill, and then I have some really little dill. So I'm going to come close to my camera here. Scooch a little bit closer so you can see these. So this is a young dill. They get to be quite large, quite tall, maybe 18 inches tall or so, with these leaves. And if you crush the leaves, you'll definitely smell them. But just starting out as little babies, you can see there's 2 little leaves right there. Those are both from the seed. These are called cotyledons. The plant will put out cotyledons first until the plant has the green leaves in order to photosynthesize and make their own food. They'll rely on the sugars that are stored in here, which is actually part of the seed itself. So that comes out. And then you can see that there are little teeny baby leaves, that look more like that dill leaf, just starting to grow there. So that's one of the plants we have today. Another one we have, the little black seeds, are basil. Again, I have some tiny basil. Basil's used a lot in Italian cooking is what I think of it. I see it in Thai cooking as well. Has a very fragrant smell. If you were at the library teen room when Miss Emily from Kingman Museum and I came and cooked with you all, we made bruschetta, which had a lot of basil, had fresh basil leaves in that recipe. So very fragrant, but you can see here again, we have 2 cotyledons. You'll see that they're kind of smooth leaves. They don't have any veins to them. And then there's the 2 tiny leaves in the middle that you can start to see more of the veining. Those are the true leaves in there. As the plant grows and gets more leaves, these turn yellow. The cotyledons will turn yellow and then sometimes fall off the plant, where those real leaves are there. The true leaves are there and are beginning to photosynthesize. So basil is one of the plants that we're going to get today. And then another good one is, this one right here is cilantro. I have a couple different types of cilantro, or different ages of cilantro. So again, here is a good example of that leaf. And then if you take a look here, again, you can see those cotyledons. So those leaves have a little different look to them, but you can see as it grows, those leaves start to be kind of similar. So, so those are the plants that we're doing now. Cilantro is an interesting one because it is if you're familiar at all, it's used a lot in salsa. It's used a lot as different flavorings. It's got, some people think it has a soapy scent to it, but I personally, I love it in my salsas and whatnot. But the seed has a different scent to it than the leaves do, and I find that fascinating. In fact, the seed has a different name altogether. It's used as a different spice. If you've ever heard of the spice coriander, that's going to be your cilantro seeds. So if you take one of those cilantro seeds and you can, if you crush it, I find it helpful to kind of push it on a table or something to crush with my thumb. Then you smell it. It almost has a citrusy, almost citrusy smell to that seed, which is a very different flavor profile than you'd get, which is why those herbs have different different names. Coriander is again more citrusy. Cilantro is more used in salsa recipes and whatnot. So a lot of different foods there. So those are the seeds that we're going to be planting. As our soil soaks, what we're going to do is we're going to take our base of our greenhouse here, and we're simply going to put a label on our little box. So you'll notice you have 4 stickers that represent each one of those seeds I just mentioned. So I'm starting with fennel, and I'm just going to put it right on the corner of my greenhouse. I'm going to take the next one is dill. Now you'll see there's illustrations on those stickers. You'll notice that dill and fennel actually have very similar looks to them as they grow. Very different smells. Again, dill like pickles, and fennel is going to smell more like black licorice. Cilantro, basil. I've got all 4 of those on there, just as so, ready to go. And then there's one more sticker. I am going to place this on the bottom of my greenhouse because it's going to have my name on it. So I'll write Katy on there. It says that it's Katy's greenhouse. And then I'm going to check on let's check our little our soil pods. Oh, they're soaking up nicely. If you put yours in the water around when I put mine in, you'll see that they are getting quite plump. And all we're going to do is we're going to take those. Now, those soil little pads here, you'll notice one end is covered with this little mesh, and the top has a little bit of a hole in it, a circle and a hole. That's going to be, you're going to want to make sure that's on the top. And we're simply going to place these one in each corner of our little greenhouse, just like this. Now this is what's called a substrate, so something that the plant is going to grow in. Again, it's not soil. This has coconut husk in it primarily, and that's going to keep it nice and lofty for those roots to grow down into. And there we go. So it's a pretty tight fit. You can see all 4 fit in there just nicely. And we're going to use our straw today to actually plant our seeds. This is because we're just doing small seeds, we don't need a big shovel or anything. But you're going to take that straw and you're going to kind of stick it right in the center about halfway down. And essentially you're making a dent in that soil. You're going to do one in each thing. You don't want to go all the way through to the bottom of the little pod there. You want to make sure that it's just about halfway. If you plant your seed all the way on the bottom, it's going to have a lot of work to do in order to come out of the soil. So they don't need to go down super far, about halfway. All right. So now I've got 4 little holes inside my little dirt pods. And then I'm going to make sure I match up my seeds with the labels on the thing. So I'm going to start with my dill. I'm going to open that little lid, and I'm going to scoop out with the little shovel end of that straw just a few seeds there. I think I've got about 7 in this one. Again, making sure that I've got that in the right pod. My next one is basil. So I'm just going to go through and put each one of my seeds in the appropriate, don't quite need that many, each one of my seeds in the appropriate little soil pod, the little hole that I created.
Well, keep in mind that this was probably done by Mike 4 years ago. He's less mechanically inclined than I am.
And I
That's why I
had to double check there. I had that in the wrong one.
what that is, and that
So now we're doing cilantro.
find enough spirits to jam it up in there. 3/4, right?
There we go. A couple of those seeds. Again, they're coriander at this stage. A little bit more rolly. Tuck those in there.
Then I still gotta fight this, but that should be a lot easier. Well, this is ruined. I don't want
All
to use
right.
it. So,
Let's see here.
cut it off. Then I can.
All right. And last but not least, I'm going to do my fennel seeds in this corner. All right. So here I have my fennel inside that little seed pod there. Just like that, you can see. All I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little scoop end, and I'm just going to cover up those seeds with a little bit of the soil, just like that. So now I can't see them. They're kind of in a little cake there. And I'm going to do that with each one of my seeds. It's just kind of scoop some of that soil over, making sure that those seeds are covered. And each one of those seeds, even though they're very dry, and they've got protective coatings on the outside, they've got a nice hard seed coat to them that are protecting those seeds. They have everything inside those seeds that plant is going to need in order to grow. So there are the 2 cotyledons in each one of those seeds, already ready to release that energy, release those sugars so the plant can grow. And it also has the very first leaves, the true leaves that we're going to see are inside those seeds, as well as the initial root is inside the seeds. So in order to get them to grow, they need to be surrounded by moisture. And so we need to keep this nice and wet. So using a little bit more water from my Imagine Your Story water bottle, I'm going to pour in my little greenhouse here. I'm going to pour about 1/4 of an inch, just above the little line at the bottom of this dish. And I'm going to make sure to pour not on top of my seeds. I'm going to pour in between them. Just a little bit there so that it can be absorbed by those those little soil pods. And then I'm going to take my lid and I'm going to place that right on top of my greenhouse, and I'm going to click that down. Now, what that's going to do is that's going to create an entire water cycle inside this dish here, okay? So I have the water at the bottom. As it warms up in the sun, it's going to steam, it's going to evaporate up, and it's going to condense. If it was in the atmosphere, it would condense into a cloud. We will likely see it as little droplets of water on the sides and on the top of our lid here. Now, on the bottom of the lid, I guess. On the top of our container. So we'll see those little water droplets. As they grow to larger water droplets, they will fall back down, keeping the moisture inside of our greenhouse here. After a few weeks, we might start seeing some growth. We can expect in the first maybe week, 2 weeks, we should start seeing our let's see here, our dill and our fennel should start growing, our basil should start growing. It's going to take closer to 4 weeks for our cilantro to start growing. Once they do grow, they're going to grow quickly. And so we'll keep them in these containers here until they plants actually reach the top. Once the plants reach the top of our container, what we'll be able to do is open them up, and we'll just remove that little pot of soil. And you don't have to take the roots out or the plant out. You won't have to remove them. They'll actually be still inside the little seed pod, and you can plant this whole pod of soil, this whole little cake of soil with the plant in it. You can put the whole thing into a pot and put it outside on your porch, or you can plant it in the ground and have fresh herbs this summer. The leaves are primarily what you're going to be using for each one of these to season your food. They can be used fresh, or you can dry them out and use them as a dried herb as well. That's what we're often buying from the grocery stores. So again, food is a big part of our survival. So we had to include some herbs and some plant growing in our survival kit. It also gets us outside, and being outside is a major part of my survival, I know. I find a lot of peace just taking walks around the Arboretum, getting fresh air, stretching my legs are all important parts of my survival as well. So I would love to see your progress of your greenhouse. If you want to post any of those pictures on Leila Arboretum's Facebook page, I would love to see them. Otherwise, come out to the Arboretum, check us out at the farm stand, again, Tuesdays or Thursdays, starting middle of May. Or just explore our grounds in our fantasy forest and kaleidoscope garden. I hope to see you soon. Thank you so much.